One of my host sisters took me to this beautiful abbey, the Abbey de Jumieges, and I'm going to let you listen because as well as being beautiful, the sound is amazing. This is called the Route des Chaumieres. So these houses are all covered, as you can see, in chaumière, or the hay. At the top is earth and flowers to absorb the humidity. So just beautiful. So this Route des Chaumieres are all these houses that are with this kind of roof. Just beautiful. And this is an entrance. So all of these houses that are in Chaumieres also seem to have this lovely entry gate, also in Chaumieres. Very cool. We're now in the town of Aizier, and there's this beautiful church built by the Romans, who apparently had the stones cut piece by piece and brought here from another village because there wasn't room to do it here. And we're going to take this tiny little path and explore. So this church is from the 12th century. Oh, you have the Chaumieres over there. There's a lot of them here. And from what I understand, they're starting work to renumber each of the stones. When in France, these markers up here, that tells you that there's a big long hike, and this tells you there's a shorter walk. This little village is gorgeous. So you'll find these awesome pictures all over town that tell you what these buildings used to be in the past. This looks like it was, there's no year on here, so I don't know what year, but we walked along a path up here, which is where there was an ancient leopard colony, as explained in this sign. This one says you can't go touch anything without your gloves. And we're gonna go, I think, see a view. Pretty harsh rules. So they had to both identify themselves and also hide when people came to give them help and weren't lepers. So there's a ramp up to the top where you have a view out to the Seine, which in winter without the leaves, you'd see more, but still pretty. So the bodies of the lepers were buried here and were exhumed so that scientists could study their bones and learn more about leprosy. This chapel was built in 1180. There was a fire in the 1500s which destroyed most of it, and they tried to restore it but without much success, but apparently it was rediscovered in the 1960s and is still used today, clearly, as you can see from these items. And this was a place for lepers to worship because they were denied access everywhere else, so they had to have their own place of worship. Here's an interesting fact. The word contagion used to mean a disease's progression through the body. The current meaning of it evolved with the plague in 1348. Interesting. Another interesting fact, apparently lepers were, once they were diagnosed, they had to basically take a religious oath, so they became basically like monks and nuns, and went and lived in a colony with a priest. And then all of the medicine was herbal, from nature, which is really interesting. And they actually lived long lives because they were well cared for. And eventually, it looks like an African, Constantine the African, said there was a possible genetic transmission possibility of the disease, which apparently was confirmed true. Now in Hauville, where there is one of the few remaining and I think oldest windmills. I believe it's to make green. We're ending the day with this beautiful view over the Seine, and you might recognize there is the Abbey, the Jumieges Abbey, and we're just across the river from it. We're gonna cross the Seine in a boat, because otherwise you have to drive far to a bridge. Bah oui.
Parce qu'un habitué, il fera jamais ça.
This is the Church of Gertrude.